Hey, welcome to For the People podcast, the show that keeps you inspired, informed, and to know. I'm your host, Vision X, and I told you I was going to be starting up IOTG Live. IOTG Live is where I go through my social media, speak about a lot of my daily videos, and we just go through I'm pretty much talking to myself, but I'm also looking at the comments as well, because the comment section is where it's at. That's where all the action is. I'm also going to be starting IOTG Live as well, at review section, and the review section will mostly be in regards to like product services or things that I'm recommending. So hotels, car rentals, etc. Things I personally tried or things that other people personally tried. There'll be some good things, there'll be some bad things, but it's also giving you a more of an honest review from my experience of what I've experienced. For the People podcast, as you know, I am the host, main host and moderator of that, along with Nikki and Maya. And we have a rotating panel in there as well. That is more of a raw version of it. So you're going to see that this content is a little more different than that one. This one is just me and you talking, more direct. And then also I focus on a lot of reviews. So we're going to get right into it. Now there's going to be some people's names that I'm going to butcher. And so it is what it is if that does happen. And so we are going to take a look at this first video, and let me see when this moves down. And let's take a look.
I know there's a lot of insanity happening in the world right now, but I need to take a moment to tell you about this horrific story of Camden Dean Dale, a white man who sexually assaulted a child for 5 years straight. And predictably, media is leading with the fact that he was an athlete and he was a star, showing smiling pictures of him trying to humanize this monster. And the icing on this crappy cake of injustice is that after sentencing him for 10 years in prison, the judge decided, no, I'm going to go lenient on you. You've got your whole life ahead of you. Cut it down to only 180 days in a local jail, and then a couple hundred hours of community service and a whopping $2,600 fine. Meanwhile, this sweet innocent child who's now 15, starting a freshman year in high school, has been sexually assaulted and raped by this monster from the time that she was 7 to the time that she was 11 years old. A reminder that in this country, more than 98% of men who commit rape never see a day in prison. So this sociopath who sexually assaulted a child for 5 years is one of the rare exceptions of a rapist even seeing a day in prison. And what does he get? 0 prison, only 180 days in jail. This is America, where the complexion for protection and enough money can prevent you from seeing any kind of meaningful accountability, even for the horrific sexual assault of a child. This is his face. His name is Camden Dale. Make sure everyone remembers this rapist for the rest of his life. I know there's a lot of insanity happening.
All right, so I just call him Rashid because I don't know how to say his first name, so I don't want to butcher it. But he's speaking facts. Most of all the crimes that's committed in America are by white men, and not only are they committed by white men, but they don't get charged. They do not get charged. They don't get convicted. They get like lenient sentences like this. Clear example. I had a friend. He was pretty much one of the biggest drug dealers in Kansas, Missouri. A white dude. And I mean, this is when weed was illegal. And when I tell you this guy was selling weed left and right, he was making money on top of money. And his mom was very affluent. She was like some finance director or something. And his father was very like in stocks or something. So he was just a typical rich, spoiled white kid. And I guess him and his friend had gotten into it. Not sure what happened, but him and his friend got into it. Long story short, the police was called to the house. They came, they raided his apartment. They took all his weed. He had like $125,000 in cash there. They took all that, and they pretty much took the money. And pretty much they told him, they was like, well, just make sure don't do this again. This happens again, we might not be as lenient, et cetera. And they just left with the weed and the money. And I said, that was all that happened to you? He was like, yeah, that's all that happened. And I was just like, wow. I said, any other time somebody do something like that, it'll be a major issue. I said, and you're allowed to just get away with this pretty much. And I was just like, that's interesting, because I've seen too many Black people. We go through this stuff like all the time. And when I tell you, they'll find a little joint and they talk about 10 years, but he had pounds of weed. I was like, the complexion for the protection, that's exactly what it was. And that's why I tell people, when you look at these crime statistics, I said it's so flawed, because I said they don't even get convicted like they should get convicted. And people also don't speak about exonerations. Almost 60% of Black men, and the numbers are increasing, exonerated. They've been in prison for 20 years, 30 years, exonerated, and these whack ass judges are talking about a little bit of money here and there, and I'm just like, no, they deserve a lot more money than that. But this is what I've been talking about. It'd be stuff like this, and it's quite unfortunate, but this is the stuff that we go through. Let's read some of the comments. Sam Core Trainer says the complexion for the protection, that part. Ray Damon, BYU. There's a hill on the end of the campus called Grape Hill. So yeah, this checks. Colorama, perhaps these judges need to be looked at as well. Chev Mo, the judge too, he needs the treatment that the judge in the Brock/Alan Turner's case received. All right, so we're going to go to the next video. Actually, this is actually a posting. This was posted by D.L. Hughley. He said, I never learned this in school. Before the president's faces were carved into Mount Rushmore, it was called the Six Grandfathers, part of the sacred Black Hills of the Lakota tribe. The U.S. government seized the land illegally in 1877 after gold has been discovered there. President Grant secretly ordered the Army not to protect the local tribes as bounty hunters collected up to $300 for each Native American killed. The carvings of the four presidents into the hills took place in the 1920s, funded in part by the Ku Klux Klan. Now, I want y'all to take this part where it says 300 for each Native American killed. I want you to look at that. That's exactly the same playbook that they're doing with ICE right now. Exactly the same playbook. You got these losers. I think I forgot the guy's name, Dean something, the guy that was like Superman. Actually, let me check. What was the guy that played Superman? I just like to pull us up. The guy that played Superman in 1993. I think. Yeah, Dean Cain, this loser. So this guy hasn't really been in any big roles since 1993. This was his biggest portrayal ever of anything of significance, and he's been working these little TV jobs here and there. But this was his biggest role, and so he got on Fox News the other day, and he was talking about how he's going to be with ICE and everything. Yeah, because those checks ran out. I get it. You're not that good of an actor, and you need the money. So he need to get on TV, get his name out there, etc., so he can be a part of this new Nazi regime. So this is what it is. And I'll be telling y'all, I said, you be having people like this that get into these spaces, and they will sit here and they will like make up stuff and talk about how we need to go back to the old days and etc. But I'm like, we go way back to old days. A lot of them even shouldn't even be here because this is Native American land and Black people built a lot of it, and the Asians helped with the railroads and etc. I said a lot of contributions were not from white folks. But let's go to the comments and see what they have to say here. And so this is from Wabanoki. And remember, I'm going to butcher names, so please, I'm just going to butcher names, okay? This is just the tip of the iceberg. The stories get worse. As an Indigenous woman raising Indigenous babies, I'm always reminded them of the truth of our peoples, and every time we move to a new location through the military. I always have to fact check the schools about what they share with my children. 20 years of educating, correction, and I shall never stop. Our oppression by the government still thrives to this day. It just never covered by any media. Let me go down a little bit. So thank you for sharing this post. And this proves again for the millionth time why I've always been a fan of your work. You always keep it 100. And then she got comments under there. And then the real commit says, we broke every single treaty we made with the Indigenous Americans, everyone. And so comedian Balak Rock says, we whom? And then Trina Channel says, not we, those devils. We are not them. C Falcon 82, they did. And then Bridgie 8, America is one big lie. We don't have freedom, we have owners. The effing oligarchs have always stolen and created to get ahead, and then they have effing nerves to tell us how great we have it. So let's go on to the next video. And I love her. She's on TikTok. Take a look.
You're obviously not aware of this, but blessed is not a word that the global majority thinks of in association with Europeans. Words like plague and colonizer, maybe, but not blessed. And the cell phone in my hand came from China. So I don't know if you're referencing Steve Jobs or Martin Cooper or the Finnish inventor who created the first pocket-sized telecommunication device in 1917, and you probably don't know either because your education system has left you terribly ignorant and without the critical thinking skills necessary to effectively gather information. Because you believe that most great inventions can be attributed to one white person, as opposed to recognizing that the patent system is how white people colonize intellectual property. We would not have cell phones if it wasn't for the creation of the gamma electrical cell by Black inventor Henry T. Sampson. And most of our cell phones would not have microphones in them if it wasn't for the particular microphone that was created by Black inventor James Edward West. The creation of the first digital network, 1G, was launched in Japan, and then Black electrical engineer Jesse Russell pioneered the creation of 2G, which launched in Finland first. 3G launched in Japan, 4G launched in Norway, 5G launched in South Korea, and 30% of the world's cell phones are manufactured in China. Because we, of the global majority, recognize that collective humanity has the ingenuity and creativity of one another to thank, whereas a lot of European Americans are laboring under the delusion that the rest of us have white people to thank. And it's this narcissistic ignorance that causes people like you to do embarrassing things, like leaving comments about Europeans and cell phones on a video about systemic anti-Black racism in the United States. And while that could be written off as a comedic and senile non sequitur, we recognize it as a desperate attempt to center yourself in a conversation that has nothing to do with you. The irony being that white people like to say not all white people and they shouldn't be held accountable for the misdeeds of their ancestors, yet they want to be associated with the greatness of the things that they think they invented.
So I love Amy Chan's content. She keeps it straight, Will. She keeps it straight to the point. And you know what gets me about this is that, they talked about, she talked about Black inventions and et cetera. When I was trying to do this video earlier, I said, I want to look at some of the Black inventions that were stolen by white folks. And so we're going to go through this list, and I'll pull this up on Google, and we're just going to take a look. So, and I'm going to go through the list and read to you all the Black inventions that were stolen by white folks. White folks always want to talk about they this or they that, and you always see that either a Black was the original inventor, or Asian was the original inventor. And when they were the inventors, the white folks decided to deny them for citizenship status or issues like that, so a white person can take it, so this person can have their name on it. So multiple examples exist where inventions by Black inventors were either stolen, had their credit denied, or legally prevented from patenting their work. This often occurred due to systematic racial barriers that prevented them from fully benefiting from their creations. Here are specific examples of Black inventions where credit was unjustly denied or taken by others. Granville T. Woods. Granville T. Woods was a prolific inventor with nearly 60 patents, often referred to as the Black Edison, the synchronous multiplex railway telegraph. This device allowed for communication between trains and stations and was revolutionary for railway safety. Thomas Edison sued Woods twice, claiming that he invented the technology first, but Woods successfully defended his patents in court. Some biographers claim Edison, after losing the suits, offered Woods a job at the Edison Company, which Woods reportedly declined. Now, we're not going to get into this because, I have a lot of videos to get through, but I will say this, that Thomas Edison, that was an evil, nasty, sick man. If you ever heard of Nikola Tesla, and I want you to go review about Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison's name popped up all the time for stealing inventions from Nikola Tesla. It was always something that this man was going to the patent office, running to the patent office to steal somebody's invention. So I'm like, when you start looking at Edison, I'm like, was he really this great inventor, or was he just a thief? Because you would have Black people that invented, or you'll have an Asian person, or you'll have a poor white person that invented. And here comes the oligarchs, which we currently got going on right now. They come and steal your invention and slap their name on it, and then now they're making billions and millions of dollars while you're sitting here living in poverty. So I just want y'all to go and review Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison's relationship back then, and you will see that Nikola Tesla was a great mind that was pretty much shunned out of being a great inventor. So mediocre guys like Thomas Edison can have his name out there forever. Mary Patrice Kenner. Mary Patrice is one of the most prolific Black female inventors with numerous patents to her name. She created the sanitary belt. Kenner patented an adjustable sanitary belt in 1957. A company initially approached her to market the product, but dropped its interest after discovering she was Black. As a result, her patent expired and she never profited from her invention, while the design was later used by manufacturers. Ned, an enslaved man. This case illustrates the legal barriers faced by enslaved inventors. He created the cotton scraper. In 1857, Ned, an enslaved mechanic in Mississippi, invented a cotton scraper. His owner, Oscar J. E. Stewart, tried to patent the device for himself, but was denied by the U.S. Patent Office at the time. In 1858 ruling by Attorney General Jeremiah Black stated that enslaved people could not be inventors under the law, and their masters could not apply for a patent on their behalf. The law essentially nullified the intellectual property rights of millions of enslaved people. So just imagine this mediocre white dude or below average, Oscar J.E. Stewart, who wasn't smart enough to invent this. And I want you guys to picture this. Slaves work from sun up to sundown. Now, I was living in Kansas. Sun up could be as early as like sometimes 5:30. That's when the sun is creeping up, and sometimes it won't set until like 8 o'clock, 8:30. So you mean to tell me a slave was working from sun up to sundown, and he was able to do an invention like this? I want you to let that sink in. He had to deal with racism, had to deal with people beating on him, had to deal with people stealing on him, and he was still able to invent something under the amount of stress that this was causing to him and his body, and the beatings and all the stuff that this black man experienced. So a mediocre white person could sit here and have their name as on this patent for a device that he didn't create. Just let that sink in for a little bit. We ain't gonna go into too much of that. I just want y'all to let that sink in. Benjamin Montgomery, another enslaved inventor, Benjamin Montgomery, faced similar systemic roadblocks. He created the steamboat propeller. In 1850s, Montgomery developed a steamboat propeller specifically designed for shallow waterways. His owner, Jefferson Davis, the future president of the Confederacy, tried to patent the invention for himself, but was also denied by the U.S. Patent Office, which cited the same legal rationale regarding enslaved people. Lewis Latimer, a former Union soldier and draftsman, worked alongside famous inventors like Hiram Maxim and Thomas Edison. He created the carbon filament. That's that thing that's in the light bulb that's used in all these houses in America and even abroad. Though Thomas Edison is often credited with the light bulb, it was Latimer who patented the carbon filament in 1881. This key innovation has significantly increased the lifespan and practically of light bulbs, making them more commercially viable. So this means without Lewis Latimer, these light bulbs would have been burned out within seconds. A black man. And in these times where people are doing all types of evil things to black people and burning up their towns and villages and stuff, and we were still able to invent under those conditions. Oh, you'll see a lot of white folks that can do that. They quick to steal our patents, though. This is a clear example. George Crumb, a popular snack of potato chips, has roots in a story of defiance against a customer's complaints. He creates the potato chips. In 1853, while working as a chef in Saratoga Springs, New York, George Crumb created the first potato chip after a customer repeatedly sent back his fried potatoes for being too thick. Crumb sarcastically sliced them paper thin, fried them to a crisp, and oversalted them. The customer loved them, and they became a hit. Crumb never patented his invention, leaving it open for others to market commercially. And even if he tried to, there would have been so many issues regarding that because, you know, companies like Frito-Lay, they owed their entire legacy to George Crumb, this black man. Let's keep it strictly 100 there. Dr. Patricia Bath. Dr. Bath was a pioneer ophthalmologist who faced skepticism from her peers. She created the laser phycal probe. In 1980s, Dr. Bath invented a device to use laser technology to remove cataracts. When she explained her breakthrough to her supervisor, he told her that's impossible. She preserved and patented the invention in 1988, which made cataract surgery less invasive and more efficient. And if you understand how many people get cataracts, especially elderly population, as you get older, people get cataracts. This lady is a genius. But her, and I remember hearing about this before, but her white peers, because their mediocre asses couldn't do it, wanted to down her and make her look like she was an idiot, while this black woman, and it's like we always have to go through adversity to do all these inventions stuff, and then have to get roadblocks from people that are literally inferior to us because you can't be superior, and every time black people are creating something in like the worst conditions possible, you guys are trying to steal it. Obviously, we're not that dumb and stupid. I mean, we're creating everything that everybody uses on a daily basis. Everything, you know, concerning washing machines, refrigerations, etc. So let's keep it strictly 100. Lonnie Johnson. Lonnie Johnson is a successful inventor who had to fight for a share of profits. I remember seeing this in the news not too long ago. He created the Super Soaker. This popular children's water gun has generated over $1 billion in sales, despite the toy's massive success. Johnson faced a long legal battle with the company that produced it to receive his proper royalties. And in 2013, he was awarded a significant settlement. So why do we have to go through doing all this just to get proper dues? We invented it. We created it. We had the mind to do it when white folks didn't have the mind to do it. But they would not. They would sit there and they would suck everything dry from black people. But we stupid. We dumb. We not intelligent. We idiots. Understood. Long as I said, as long as they got that patent office, white folks can sit here and steal everybody's inventions. So let's move on to the next video.
That's so much.
I'm actually going to restart that.
Race of people that they tell us to forget our history. Everybody else to be like, we're gonna let you know so it doesn't repeat itself. Don't you forget that shit. That shit's not gonna happen. Every other person, and then they'll all ask us to support them.
Yes.
In their plight. Yes. They just want us to continue to entertain, give them creative ideas so they can steal all of that shit. Yes. We are the only motherfuckers that they tell to forget about our history. This shit is so disgusting. When you go to a doctor's office, what's the first thing they do? They pull out your medical history. Right. Because we have to assess what is happening now. We got to look back and see, okay, let's see what happened. You were last time you were here, this happened. Right. That's how you're able to move forward. They don't use that same philosophy on African American or African history. We are so deeply hated. They hate us so much. So true. And if they're not making money off of, if they're not benefiting sexually, monetarily, culturally, they don't think of us as like the only race of people that they.
So I watch Godfrey's podcast. He has. I'll be honest with you. He has one of the best damn podcasts on the market right now. I don't understand why he's not bigger. Because he has like good content. They talk about stuff that's like relevant. They talk about stuff like that people actually can use, like different products and services. Like he does a lot of stuff on his podcast, and why he's not like Joe Rogan or something is mind-boggling to me, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, he said something in regards to, they always want to forget our history. They always want to leave us out, and they always have something to say about us. And I tell people, I say, as long as, we're not making money for them, well, as long as we are making money for them, as long as we shaking our butts, they'll get, Rihanna or Beyonce up there, shake their booty for them and stuff, or we're not sexually performing for them. As you know, porn right now, the biggest porn right now is interracial porn, BBC and Breed Me Black and all that stupid stuff. And as long as we doing that for them, these white folks happy. They, oh my God, we're so thrilled. This is great. Yeah, you're doing something, a service for me. As soon as you stop doing that, that's when we go back to being lazy and being N-words and being all these other things that pretty much that they are, but they're quick to say that about us. And I like Godfrey's podcast. So I'm gonna read some of the comments on here as well. Michelangelo Bijavalli, oh God, I butchered that. All you do is speak facts. I love everything you post. Keep going, brother. Other postings, Traveling Gemini Peach. Godfrey always teaching the truth. Facts, bro. Mooks with facts, but 911, we will never forget. Okay, neither will we. I mean, I think they said 9/11. I wish they would have put a slash in it. I said 911. All right, we're going to go into this next thing right here. This is actually I think it is a video. So let's take a look real quick.
It's the same thing that I said with Clubhouse. All the black people on Clubhouse raised $100 million at $1 billion valuation, did nothing for black people. Guess what? Investors in Clubhouse, and Andreessen Horowitz from A16Z, they hired Daniel Penny, the young man that killed the other black young man, Jordan Neely, and hired him to be an investor at A16Z with no investing experience. The only reason they hired him is because he killed Jordan Neely. He has no experience of investing in tech startups. But A16Z, right, to Daniel Penny and said, we're going to teach him how to invest in tech startups because he killed Jordan Neely. And black people still sit over on Clubhouse. And that is the thing that is like, yo, I get it. Like, you understand that the money that is being generated, those guys are taking that money and putting those into agendas that work against black people. Yeah. And we sit on these platforms and we don't see the train coming down the tracks because we're too busy doing Jet 2 holidays that posted memes, and we're doing the Chris Brown challenge right now. Yeah. And I understand I want to do them too. Yeah. But the foundation has to be laid of where are we going to go? Where are we going to build community? Where are we going to have those conversations? It's the same thing that I said with Clubhouse.
So I see what he's saying. I do see what he's saying, because I forgot somebody has invited me to Clubhouse, and I was like, this is whack. It was just a bunch of people. Ever since social media has came out, everybody think they're an influencer. Everybody think that they're, um, you know, a famous person. Everybody, I'm just like, no. I said, you guys might got a little stuff here and there, but I said, this social media influencer thing, some people are just letting this stuff get straight to their head. I'm telling you, I said a lot of y'all without social media would have never made it, ever. I mean, some of these people, like when you meet them in person, and I'm in LA, so when you meet these people in person, I'm like, you are like, I hate to say it, but they're losers. I've been looking at them like, really? I said, this is what this produced. You got 1 million+ followers, and I'm looking at looking at you in person. I'm just like, this person has no personality. They're not nice. They can't dress. I was like, I said, this is the person that everybody is following for, but it's because they sit at home, they re-edit those videos, retouch those videos, and they make themselves look really good in these videos to where they get a lot of viewers. To me, I just think it's whack. I never understood Clubhouse. I never understood Clubhouse. I never got it. I was on there for like 2 days, and I got off, and I was like, it was just a bunch of people on there talking, running their mouths. I was just like, oh, if I wanted to do that, I could just go down to any place downtown and go to a bar and hear people run their mouth. A lot of people in there was not talking about anything. The other thing is that I'll tell you, I'm Mr. EEOC, so I'm an equal opportunity employer, and you be having some dumb Black people. Let's keep it strictly 100. You have some dumb Black people. They would sit on a platform and they would sit there and they would continue to, like, when I seen Black people shopping at Target when the boycotts first started, I'm like, what are you doing? Are you that slow? You can't be that slow and stupid to continue to support this. And people say, well, you got this, the Instagram and all this. I said, yeah, you do. I said, but you got to start somewhere. Y'all cannot sit there. I said, you like Target and Walmart, y'all should already not be in those stores. First of all, I ain't never liked either one of the stores to begin with. I've always shopped at like my local grocery store. I shop at the farmer's market. I actually like the farmer's market a lot better because you know where the food is coming from. Then they got all those pesticides and stuff on it. So for me, I said I ain't never liked a lot of the big box stores. I try to get all my food organic and stuff. I said the only one I'm having a hard time with letting go right now is Amazon, and the reason why is because Amazon, it's easy to shop. Like first of all, I don't like shopping at Walmart. I don't shop like at Target. I don't like being in public crowds with a lot of people. I get like a little tired of that, dealing with people's attitudes. A lot of people don't wash these days. They be having bad body odors. And so for me, it's a no for me. I just rather stay at home. I don't have to waste my gas. I don't have to be in LA traffic. Jesus Christ. LA traffic is a mess. So uh, it's Amazon is one of the harder ones because they offer everything on there, and including deliveries as well. They also offer deliveries as well, so you don't even have to go into the store for food. Now, I like picking my own stuff, so because I don't trust everybody delivering my food. That's just me. But I see exactly what he's saying. So we're going to read some of the comments and see what they say. Or Orlando Vi Dealer, whatever. Damn, Clubhouse still a thing? I honestly thought it was just a fad. I said the same thing. I am Shio. Preach that good word, sir. See a collective. Never use the app, never will. Roland Martin, I've been deleted the Clubhouse app. I'm telling you, I did not get it. I just did not understand Clubhouse. It didn't make any sense to me. Go got us, STL Dave. I'm so happy I've never downloaded Clubhouse. And DB Photos, stop censoring people from giving constructive criticism of fan base. Criticism gives you opportunities to make a better platform. If investors can't speak our minds about you or the fan base platform, it's counterproductive to the growth of the platform. All right, we are going to go into our next video. Here, we got another Rashid video, so let's see what he is saying.
Hey guys, just a friendly reminder, the people who banned Black people from schools, the military, the GI Bill, enforced redlining, ensure that Black people can get basic reparations, the people who lynched Latinos and are now locking Latinos into concentration camps, the people who banned all Asian immigration, period, the people who broke hundreds of treaties with Native Americans and mass murdered Native Americans, and the people who are now trying to ban teaching about all that history under penalty of fine and imprisonment, want you to stop making everything about race. Hey guys, just a friendly reminder.
You know what? this one, I'm just gonna go to the comments because enough said on that. He said everything that needed to be said. Kramer Patty says, thank you. Misunderstood 25. I can't share videos anymore. No sound. Anybody else experiences? Sorry, misunderstood. I heard it perfectly. Felicia for Justice, excellent example. Shieldmate 07. They are also the same people that also got triggered to the fullest about CRT being taught in schools. They sure did. He Brown, and I have found they also do it with cross hanging from their neck and a Bible in their hand. The exact reason I know totally questioned my faith. That, yeah, that right there is still tripping. You burning crosses and stuff, but you talking about the Bible. And that one thing I've seen from a lot of like racist people, they will always, they like the Bible to fit around them, especially a lot of these like white male pedophiles. They will sit there. I've seen some of them try to justify, oh, well, the age was 13 or 14 or whatever. They don't make it right. They don't. I mean, what do I mean? Honestly, what do you really want to do with some young cuckoo and some young penis? I don't get it. It's not even fully developed yet, and you want to touch on children. I don't get that at all. And me growing up in foster care and seeing how a lot of these foster homes and caseworkers and all them was. This is why Ghislaine Maxwell. Let me pull her up so you guys can see who I'm talking about. Ghislaine, or whatever her name is. Her actually her new name is called Madam Maxwell. That's what I call her. If you guys ever know what a madam is, you know what? Let me show you what a madam is, because a lot of y'all don't understand what a madam is. I'm going to type in like a black exploitation. Let's see, black exploitation. I'm trying to figure out black exploitation. Female pimp. Let me see what female pimp. This is what Madam Maxwell remind me of. Oh, this is perfect. Oh, Dorinda. Oh, Dorinda's great. Let's see if it plays. Oh, come on. Now, Dorinda was really, 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 really good, because she shows you exactly what people are. You know what I mean?
Shit together with Gator gone. Yeah, you black bitch. Your ass belongs to me. I tell you what you can and can't do with it. Do you understand what I'm saying? I didn't say I was leaving. Shut up. Now you hoes sit down. I want to talk to you. Anybody thinking about leaving here is going to find my left foot square up their ass. Do you understand it? What? Shut up, you junkie whore. I'm talking to you. And those two bitches that left, they better learn to sell pussy in Iceland, because if I ever see them again, I'm going to cut their fucking throats. Be a family. And that's what we're gonna stay. I got important business out there today. And when I call you, I want you to come out there and shake your asses proper. You hear? Huh? Now get out there and make it look good. And I can't take that fucking jacket off. Move it.
That's what people should be displaying. I hope I don't have no echo in this, but that's what Madam Maxwell reminds me of. That's what she reminds me of. People like to try to paint this white lady as a nice lady, and she's trying to lie for Trump and all that. The interviews that happened with those girls that were sitting there saying that she was the one that was touching on them and doing all these things before she even gave them to Epstein and these oligarchs and rich men and billionaires and czars and Shaws and all these other people. She was the first one to do it, and she looked like that too. And what she does, she has that white woman. Well, she don't have the white woman asymmetrical bob, but when I was in foster care, that white woman with the asymmetrical bob, that head stopped the bobbing and shaking. And I talked about this on the FTP podcast as well. I said these are people that were smiling in your face, and I tell people, I said the women were more dangerous than the men, because the women will make it seem like, oh, well, how can I touch a child, or whatever, or how can I be like that? I'm the one that has to be pinned down. It was the women that you had to watch out for. The men, they already knew what the men was going to do, and the women, they would turn a blind eye. There was people getting paid under the table. There was people getting sent. There was this place called the Compound, and that's where they sent a lot of the children who they felt were disrespectful, or children that didn't conform, or children that did not listen to the caseworker or the guards or whatever, they would get the kids back. They're like, oh yeah. And it would be a lady look like Madam Maxwell. Actually, let me see a white woman asymmetrical bob. 1 second. White woman asymmetrical bob. Hopefully I said it. This, yes, this right here. Yes. Now they need to be an older white lady. So this right here, this is a perfect example. They come in here. I'm trying to pull it up. They come in here with this right there, and they're like, "Oh, I love children, and children are so nice, and they're so great, and oh, these children are so this or that." And when I tell you that they get back there, they turn into Madam Maxwell. They will send you to the compound. Go ahead and lift that skirt up. If we don't care about you being 12 or 13 years old, you should have ran your mouth. You should have did what I told you to do. And it would be white women like this that would say stuff like that. And there ain't nothing you can do, because I tell people in foster care, you have your file. I'm just pulling this up as just an example, but it'll be like a long folder, one of the yellow folders that you normally have at work, and they will put all this stuff in there. And anything that they say about you, or anything that they don't like about you, they will write it in this folder. They would say, "Oh, this kid is bad, is aggressive. They tried to burn down the house. They tried to fight the guards. And it could be a complete lie, but you're forgetting these asymmetrical bob white women. They're the one in power. They're the ones in power. They're friends with the judges. They're friends with the cops. The cops is friends with the district attorney, all this stuff. So they can write and do whatever they want and put in your file. And guess what? Since they're the ones in power, they're the ones that will be believed. They're not going to believe no child. I've heard so many times, oh, this child doesn't know what they're doing. Oh, this child needs to shut up, or this child needs to do that. I've seen so much essay when I was in foster care, and I don't have a lot. I don't have a lot of time to go over this, because this will drag this video out to be very long. But I'm telling you what, dealing with people that look at you and they will smile in your face, and they will usually smile like in your face like this, oh my God, I love children, and they're so great and nice, and they're this or that. And then deep down she turned into, oh, clear example. If you ever watch Harry Potter, I'm glad that I'm doing this live. Harry Potter, not episode 5, Harry Potter 5, main villain. It's gonna pull her up. It's this white lady. Her, Jesus Christ. Here she is, Dolores Umbridge. They act just like this woman. I had a caseworker, her name was Karen, and I promise her name was Karen, who looked almost exactly like her. And she comes in and she's talking all nice and prim and proper, and oh, she loves children, and she loves this and that and all that. And deep down, she messing you up, and she will take you out. Oh, you don't want to listen to me? Okay, let me go ahead and send you to the compound. And I'm telling you that when the kids went to the compound, they came back destroyed. I'm telling you, the kids that mentally, they were not there. You could tell physically they weren't feeding them. There was a lot of bruises on a lot of kids' bodies, and the guards and the police that's doing the transport would say, oh, it was the kid got into a fight. But I'm like, this kid got beat up. And some of the kids, when they come back from the compound, they didn't want nobody touching them. And I said, I already know what that is. I said, they not only beat you, but they sat there and essayed you, and there was nothing you could do about it. And if you say anything about anything or say something to them, they'll send you back there, and they'll put you, we call it the white room. The white room, you got the hole, which is like prison, but the white room was just as bad. It was this bright room where the light was so bright. Oh my God. I was put in there one time, and I will never forget it. And I was sat in there for like days, because this guard got upset. He just wanted to start something with me, and I would never forget it. And it burns your eyes. I remember I needed like eye drops and stuff for like a long time. I'm telling y'all, foster care, if these kids got family members, keep them with you, because you end up meeting these Giselle Maxwells and these Trumps and all that stuff. And that's why he's trying to protect all this stuff, because you can see how he talks about his daughter. And I'm telling y'all, you just gotta be careful around people. But that's one thing I just want to put out there. So what I'm going to do is, did I read the comments of it? I think I did. So let's go into our next video. Let's take a look at this. And let's make sure that it plays real quick as well. You know how the internet likes to mess up. And actually, I think it froze just a little bit. But I was watching this video on my feed, and she was talking about the Zionist movement. You know where that's going. And one thing about the Zionist movement, one thing that bothered me about that is that as soon as they get done targeting or harming other people, they would sit there and talk about they were proud that they raped somebody and that they abuse them. And they didn't just do. Everybody thinks it's just the women and children. It's not just the women and children. What is going on here? It's not just the women and children. It's the men as well. So I want y'all to keep that in mind.
Chased by the violent. As dozens of police officers stood by and attempted to intervene, escort her to safety. As the mob kicked through trash cans, safety cones, as well as hurled rape threats.
I want someone to bend you over and fucking rape you.
Well, today, her and her attorney filed a notice of suit with the New York Comptroller's office, alleging that the NYPD allowed her to be physically and emotionally assaulted with their inaction. Perpetrators have already been identified, yet no arrests have happened. The NYPD says that we can call the Crime Stoppers tip line with any information about what happened that night for the chance at a $3,500 reward. We were walking and we just happened upon these posters. We should call the Crime Stoppers tip line. Hi, I'd like to report a tip. It was an assault on April 24th. It was a woman that was being chased by a mob. I have 3 of the perpetrators' names. April 24th, 2025. No arrests have been made. Just right down the block here. Yeah. Well, they told other members of the community that the victim was not cooperating. That's why they had to close the case. Yeah. She wasn't part of a protest. Where was she going? She was going home. Yeah, she made a police report. She made a report. In April. Wow, what could be taking so long? They have the names already. What are their names? I want to make sure that you have the same names. It's been 3 months since this happened. Yeah. Why they would tell us to call the Crime Stoppers tip line if they already have all of their names. So what do you suggest for concerned community members to do? You don't know, so nobody's been arrested. All right, I guess this is typically how things go with the NYPD. So the NYPD is telling concerned community members to call the Crime Stoppers tip line, yet when we do, and say that we have identified 3 individuals who assailed that woman that night, they say that they already have their names, yet no arrests have taken place. Because of that, it's time for City Council member Crystal Hudson to step in and do her job of oversight of the NYPD and demand that these arrests take place. Do you guys remember the lone woman who was chased by the violent as dozens of police officers stood by and
Oh shit! Sorry, I was on my phone looking at something. So this is why I always tell y'all, and people gonna get mad at me when I say this, but the police ain't shit. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. All these shootings of unarmed Black people, they literally see that this woman's being harassed here. All these corrupt cops that keep getting away with stuff. All these cops recently, I don't know if y'all been getting stuff on your feed, but on my feed, I've been getting nonstop stuff on my feed regarding cops and senators and priests that current ones that's been getting charged for SA of children. I mean, what is wrong with y'all? And I'm gonna tell you this: even when I was little, that's why I always said that the data, they skew the data because they don't charge a lot of white people for crimes like this. They really don't. Especially white men, they don't charge them for anything at all. White men can do whatever they want. They can even do whatever they want to white women and get away with it. You know, because it's like this is how they feel. They feel like this is their right. And I will never forget, when I was little and I asked my grandma, I said, Grandma, we always see these cops in the house, but then we see them kicking in the doors of the other people that stay with us. And I would sit there, I would be so confused of like why this is happening. And she would sit there and tell me, she says, they're a joke. She says they're the ones in here doing all the crime and everything, and they're escalating the crime. And then when they need a big drug bust, or when they get a new sheriff or a lieutenant or whatever who's trying to get down crime, they already know where these drug dealers are because they're the ones selling the drugs with them. They're the ones that know where the stuff is being transported to. And I will never forget, there was a house that was next to us, and it was one of the drug dealer houses. And we had the cops, and these cops was in there, and they was in there with the prostitutes and all types of stuff. So we didn't think, nothing was really going on. I didn't really understand it because I was like, oh, well, maybe they coming to investigate. But I was like, a prostitute sitting on your lap, and then he's taking a line of whatever that was. I'll call it brown powder because I didn't know what powder because I didn't know what it was. And I'm sitting here like, I don't get it. And my grandma said, she says, just don't trust them. She says they're the biggest gang on earth. And next thing I know, the house that was next to us got kicked in. They went in there, tore up everything. They shot up 2 people, and they ended up shooting one of my friends, who was one of the younger kids, and he ended up passing away. He actually got pew-pewed in the head. And I'm sitting here like, wow. And then these same cops got on national TV, well, the local news, and they were talking about how they did this big arrest and everything, and it was so tragic and blah, blah. And I'm like, but you guys already knew that they sold drugs because you were at their house all the damn time. Like, you guys orchestrated this whole thing to make it seem like they were perpetrating this stuff into people's houses through the TV. And I'm sitting here like, but you guys were involved in it. You guys knew where everything was being transported. You knew who the big drug dealers were. You knew where the money was. You knew where things were being transported. You orchestrated the whole thing. And then they had one cop, and one thing, there was one a bus that went back in the same apartment complex. There was a cop that got too greedy, and he was taking the drugs. And one thing you hear about a drug dealer, you never use your own product. It's just you don't do it at all. You don't use no product. You got to be sane to keep the operation going. They need somebody trusted leader. That's been one of the rules. Well, one of the cops was also taking some of the drugs as well, and he was getting too high. He was spending up his money fast enough, and he wanted that bigger cut. And what he did is he wanted to go on his own little spree with another cop, like, yeah, we're going to do this bust and everything. He already knew that this apartment complex was one of the biggest complexes that sold drugs. Went in there, kicked in the door and everything, and a whole fiasco happened with that. And the media covered it up like, oh, there was another bust in the same complex and everything, but they never went after the officer that was on drugs and who spent all his money up, and then he wanted a bigger cut. And one of the dealers told one of the officers that's usually there what happened, and they end up I guess allegedly eliminated him because this cop like this kind of disappeared, and then he was found shot by some other gangs or something. So it's a whole mess. That's why I said I don't trust our government. I don't trust the cops. I don't trust none of them, especially not the medical field. We can go into a whole deep dive of this, but this is some of the stuff I'd be talking about, and this is why I'd be telling y'all the cops are just worthless. They just sat there and looked at that stuff like, oh well, and that's one of those things that just really bothers me. So let's look at some of the comments. Miss Tea Tree, was she part of the protest? No, they were part of the mob. She was just going home. Jocelyn Mansell, OMFG, the guy's face should be plastered all over town with this quote. Stephanie J222, so whether she was protesting will determine her eligibility for justice? Yeah, I understand. That's a good question. Femeron, hi, woman was threatened and assaulted by a mob. What was she doing at the time? JF Christ. So, I mean, even the comment section is letting you know that, our police department, I keep telling y'all, my grandma said it decades ago. She said they're the biggest gang on the planet and they cannot be trusted. And as you see, her quote and what she told me was true. All right, so we're gonna watch this next video.
פוגש חשוד, מטבע הדברים, המוח שלו חושד בו יותר מאשר הוא היה חושד בו אם הוא היה מישהו אחר. זה טבעי.
חשוב שהוא יפתור את בעיית המסתננים. אתה יודע, היום יש נתון של 2,000 לידות בשנה, שזה נתון מטורף לכל מגזר שנמצא בארץ. אנחנו גזענים כדי...
So I'm going to say this right here. I've seen so much going on with over there, and one thing that gets me, and let me go to ChatGPT. Hopefully it didn't get Zionist already, which it probably did. When did the I don't even know how to say Ashkenazi, I don't even know how to say it, Ashkenazi Jews convert? And I believe it's the 7th century to Judaism. All right, so founder event. The genetic foundation of Ashkenazi Jews was formed by a small population of Italian Jews who migrated to Rhineland, Germany around 800 CE. 300 CE. I don't know why they say CE, BC, CC. The Jews that converted in the 7th century. Oh, not interested. All right, so in the 7th century, conversions from Judaism involved both forced conversions to Christianity, particularly in the Byzantine Empire, and forced conversions to Islam and Arabia. Judaism, while the 7th century saw pressure on Jewish communities earlier. So this one is not really bringing this really up. And that's why I said it probably got Zionist already, because the Jews, the Ooze, because you can't really say their name without something being anti-Semitic or anti-Holocaust. If you converted in the 7th century and your original lineage is from Russia and Ukraine, and let me just do a world map of this real quick. World map of Europe. Let's just do this real quick. We're gonna do a world map of Europe, and let's see which map looks the best, because all right, this looks a little better. Hopefully I can get it bigger. Yes. All right, so it's a little bit bigger. So let's look at this. So where is, okay, so you have the Netherlands and stuff up there, Austria, Hungary, Denmark, Finland, all this stuff. Okay. I want to do one of this in the Middle East. So I need something that's a little bit bigger to get a full map of it, of Europe and the Middle East. That way it can have both of them in there. All right, let me see if this works. And let's see if it enlarges. All right. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so let's look at this right here, okay? So they converted in the 7th century. So you have Russia, Belarus. There was a lot from Ukraine. There was a lot from Poland and Germany. There was the Austria-Hungary Empire. That's when Austria-Hungary was around. All of them converted, and they converted. And I said, well, if they converted, well, who was the people that was already in Palestine? I mean, if you converted and you migrated over there in the 7th century, how it's so confusing. How are you the original people, but your lineage converted in the 7th century? Like, you have to make it make sense. So you mean to tell me there was already other people, Middle Eastern and blacks and all them already over there already, and you're just going to force them out? And this is what gets me. This whole thing with this Bible thing that's been rewritten by man, and even books have been omitted from this book. You mean to tell me that you're going to have some people that converted, white Ashkenazi Jews, is what they're saying, converted in the 7th century, which would be the 600s. So they convert it, and when they convert it, they're going to be able to claim something from a book that's around 2,000 years old, according to, because the book was actually written not 2,000 years, but this is a claim from thousands of years ago. So you mean tell me that they can claim something from 3,000 years ago, but when blacks sit here talk about reparations, which is only 400 years, and Native Americans talk about, they want their land back, which was since the 1400s, that's too long ago. But you can have a group of white people who just, because they infiltrate themselves everywhere, you can have them come into this and convert and then claim that some book owes them something from 3,000 years ago. But everybody else, their stuff, which is only 400 years, is too long ago. I just want y'all to let that sink in for a little bit. Just let it sink in. Don't think too hard on it. So let me read some of the comments. Pitch Party Girl, is this 1940s Germany? Pretty similar. Critty Don, is this America or Israel? I can't tell. And I'll be honest with you, I can't tell the difference. Even with everything going on in America right now, I cannot tell the difference between the two. They both look the same to me. Ken's Riza 48, amazes me how people who cry about being persecuted can comfortably persecute other people. Facts. Every time you say something to them, you're anti-Semitic, you're and the Holocaust, and they're quick to say that. That's so true. Manuel Flora Creative, can anyone tag that black influencer that went to do propaganda for Israel at Gaza border? I want to see the story. I want him to tell us what happened. That's what I really want to know. Yasmin Ben Thusen. So this is not a Jewish state. This is a whites-only apartheid state. Sounds about right. It sounds like what's the same shit that happened in South Africa. Zuluku Weethi 80. And some of my African churchgoers are still posting and praying for Israel. Nah. All right, so I'm going to move on because you already know what's going on with that. This video has been circulating and been popular. You got Jim Bob and them from the inbred Neanderthal things. Got something to say. Take a look.
I mean, I don't think they gonna believe you. I just got you on camera saying it. You don't have to look at it. Yeah, it's okay. They'll take it in. It's fine. You're what am I gonna meet him? Yeah, I know. I'm scared. I ain't scared of you. That's why you tripping on your shit, goofy. Get the fuck out of here. What? Really?
Now, I'm going to tell you this. This is what I had to put. I keep telling y'all. Everybody's like, oh, do you like going back to Kansas and Missouri? Hell no, I don't like going back to Kansas and Missouri. This is exactly what I used to put up with every day, nonstop, 7 days a week. My friends put up with this. We could be barbecuing. We could be at a birthday party. We could be going out to dinner. We could be playing football or tag football. We could be doing anything. And we always got to deal with Jim Bob and them and Snaggletooth Mary and Bubba and Hoss and Betty Sue Ellen. They don't like us having fun. We're laughing too loud for them. We're cooking out there. Why do we have a birthday party? Why does it have to be on this particular day? It was always something nonstop every day. And this is just outside of work. At work, I tell people, because everybody say, oh, Karen, and they call it Karen and Ken now. I said, at work, you got to deal with Madeline, who's in HR. You got to deal with the Kathys, who's the regular workers. And you have to deal with Paulette, who's the supervisors. They operate the same thing. And then Ben and Jerry is the white dudes you have to deal with at work. I said, if you're not dealing with it at work, you're dealing with it outside of work. This was a nonstop occurrence. And I'm glad social media, I've been seeing videos like this all day, nonstop, every day. And even my white friends, Jay was on here as well. I'll be inviting him. Actually, well, I won't invite him to this because this is more just for me, but I will invite him back to the FTP podcast to speak. And I think I should invite David as well. And even some of my family members who are fully turned white. I mean, they ain't got no black in them. That 3 generations is so true. And we have black people in our family that they love being white. They love the white benefits and everything. They don't even put black down. They put white on their stuff. They freckles, the hair, everything. They're even the rhythm is gone. There is nothing black about them anymore. It's totally like diluted. But this is what we have to go through every day out there in Kansas and Missouri. And I tell you guys, this brings back like memories and trauma that I just don't even want to remember. So let me just go ahead and just get to the comments because I'll have to get off this video because I'm about to really start seeing something. America stated, they don't even try to hide it anymore. Shoot, y'all, it wasn't hidden no more. If you have not lived in the Midwest in Missouri and Alabama and Mississippi, it just wasn't being filmed. It wasn't able to be instantly sent out to everybody because social media didn't exist back then. Just imagine in the 1960s and 50s and 40s if social media existed back then. Just imagine the 18 and 1700s if social media exists. I'm telling you what, the horrors that we would have been able to see. My great grandma used to tell me this. She says the stuff that we experienced. She says slavery, the Native American stuff that happened to them. She says these movies don't even do it justice. She said all the stuff that happened don't even come close to what you physically saw with your own eyes. She says you would never understand. She said these movies ain't 50% close to any of the horror she's saying. And so it's just one of those things. Kev Bright Zero says, those low IQ Trumpers are getting too bold. Yeah, that's true. Shoe Diva, yeah, still want to keep lying that racism doesn't exist. Like that. Beautiful Weird 00. How many of our answers got this same treatment but didn't have no cell phone? I just said this. I just said this. Enough said. Miss Katrina, Demonic Souls. Mitcha Dizzle. I wish she was talking to me like that. All right, so let's go into the next video. She's actually been posting some good content, so I've been watching her videos lately, so let's take a look.
Kylie, here are 3 ways that white people gaslight people of color. Number 1, I never said that. They will say something directly racist either to your face or in private and then be called out, and then immediately they double down and they say, I never said that. You know they said it, they know they said it, but their persistent denial makes you question reality. Number 2, you're too sensitive. This is probably the most common one that I have heard growing up in white social circles. You'll hear a white person actively telling their other white friends, oh yeah, this hot thing happened and they called me racist. And then they explain what happened and try to make themselves look like the good guy, but it's still so clear cut that they're racist. And somehow the conclusion they come to is that they're not the problem. It's every other person of color that happens to be extremely sensitive to their words. Number 3, you are actually the racist one. I never said anything about race. You are the only one who's bringing up race in this conversation. Therefore, you are the racist. This is the most annoying and honestly unintelligent response that they could come up with, and yet it is one of the most common. To other white people out there, please just take accountability and apologize. And reflect on your actions instead of causing further harm. Bye.
So I like her content. She's been doing a really, really, really good job. She's been keeping it real. I might reach out to her to be to be on the FTP podcast sometime, but she telling you the truth. The one that I heard a lot too, being from Kansas and Missouri, you're too sensitive. They will sit there and say the most racist joke. I don't care if it was Native Americans. I don't care if it was Latins. I don't care if it was Black. I don't care if it was Asian. They would say some of the most racist, prejudiced stuff ever. And then as soon as you say, oh, well, call them inbred, say Neanderthal, say dog smelling or dog hair, whatever. Anything to them. Oh my God. Oh, I have to go to HR. Oh, you're offending me. I said, so you mean to tell me that you feel like you can say whatever you want to anybody without any consequences and everybody's supposed to take it. But when we say something to you, it's a problem. It's, oh, you're offended. You're upset about something. Just let that sink in. This don't even need me to say anything more about it. because she already kind of put it down there, but I'm going to see what the comment section says as well. Monster Mayhem, thank you for speaking these truths. Closed dealings. You're making it about race is commonly used when a white person calls out another white person's racism. Not going to stop me. Thank you for sharing. Eloquent Quinn, perfectly on point. Kendall Carter artist, keep up the great job of creating a safe space for compassionate, empathetic people. This reward system is super important. Nick Asian, I agree. Jesu, Danny Boy, keep exposing them. And Hangry Robin, also, where are you from? And of course, they don't take place of birth, California, as an appropriate answer. So they will follow with, no, where are you really from? Now, this is so true. Now, I promise you, if I says, okay, so where are you from? And they were like, oh, I'm from New York. I said, no, your family's not settlers, but colonizers. So where are you really from? Did you come from the Great Empire when it was called that around that time? Did you come from Ireland? Did you come from Scotland? Did you come from Estonia? Whatever. Where'd you come from? And they would literally get upset that you're asking them the same question that they asked you. So we're just gonna let that be what it is. All right, our next video. Oh yeah, I seen this earlier today. We're gonna take a look at this.
What up? Yeah, that's it right here. That's it right here. Hey, somebody I know. It's gonna be nice. That's all I can say. I promise you. Where they go? They were down last hour. Hold on, wait, where they at? That's the police. Hold on. Did we? I'm so nervous. Like, this is not gonna end well. What if they shoot? What if they shoot? What if they shoot? Can I get her? Let me just go. Can I just go where y'all? I'm gonna just go where y'all. I don't care. Let me get out. Get out right out here. Hold on. I need to go. Hey, hold up. We're trying to finish something else. Where should we leave? Hold on, man. We got lost in here. This thing. We gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go. Like, come on, man. They're in the store right now. They're in the store. It doesn't let us out. I'm saying, you gotta go here. Okay, can you just step back so I can talk to you? We're trying to finish them. None of us. She's telling you. She knows us. I'm not gonna call you. Can I go? And what is your name, man? It's one of these people here. All covered. Yeah, that's one of they're like. So you the one that locked us in here? Yeah, what's your name? Motherfuckers could have been in here with a gun. You locked us in here.
She went off.
I'm going there right now. There's some men in there that's trying to steal, and they locked us in the store with them. Not right now.
All right. I think I said this a little bit earlier. Didn't I tell you I don't go to stores no more? I don't go to Family Dollar. I don't go to Target. I don't go to Walmart. I think the only store I've been into the last time was Home Depot because, you got to, some of the stuff that they sell there, you can't really get shipped. You have to buy from the store and take it home. This is a clear example. This dumbass employee locked these people in here. This person could have been a mass pew-pewer and got everybody in there, and there would have been nothing nobody could do about it because she got them locked in there over somebody stealing. And this is another thing. Even when I worked at a department store, because I used to work at Best Buy a long time ago, if somebody is stealing or whatever, you just let them leave. Call the cops, let them leave. If you can call the cops and you know that they're stealing, and you can have the cops meet them at the door when they walk out the door. Let the cops do their job. You're not supposed to be the person that's supposed to be tackling them and stuff. And I've been seeing too many videos where they are sitting here tackling these people and they getting clocked. They getting beat up. And I'm like, over a few items, I said, this job is not worth all that. Let them take it. If you see them doing it, have your loss prevention call the police and let them handle it. I'm not stopping nobody, and I'm damn sure not going to lock somebody into a building like this. This is the stupidity that I be talking about that goes on at these places, and I do not miss going to the stores. Even the malls, I mean, the only reason why I go to the mall now, because sometimes some of the clothes, they have different sizes. One's a European fit, one's a tight fit, one's a short fit. So they got all of these different fits. So now you have to figure out how the clothes work on you. You can't just order it and just put them on no more. Now you got to go to the store because there's so many different fits: wide fit, long fit, short fit. So it's just one of those things. But let me read some of the comments. God's Girl Sunny, false imprisonment. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Heckenwell forever. Staff will be fired. That's one of the last things to do aside from chasing shoplifters outside the store to do. You know, you now put all the other innocent shoppers in danger. I love her. She went off. She went completely off. But I just said this. This is so true. Shown job, not her locking them out, but staying outside where it's safe. Oh, she was outside. Oh, man. What? Oh, I'm going to have to rewatch this video when I have a little bit more time. Carol's Plus Warrior 1022. I've been having the worst anxiety attack ever and a lawsuit to follow. Retest, the lawsuit's going to be crazy. I mean, this lady locked that person. And that person, if they're stealing not a lot of times, but sometimes these people have weapons on them. And you don't let them out, everybody gonna get it. And that was just blatant stupidity. We're gonna move on from this. All right, here is our next video. Let's take a look.
Remember, kids, the next time that somebody tells you the government wouldn't do that, oh, yes, they
I get recommended to use an explosive entry device. How your smoke was coming in, so we knew they dropped the bomb on it.
Police allowed the blaze to burn an hour and a half before calling in firefighters.
I don't care what they said. There was no justification for what they did.
Remember, kids, the next time that's...
Okay, let me go back to this old video. I just want to like this because this was hilarious. So I think this, if I'm correct, this was in Philadelphia, and this was the move. This was the move movement or something. And this is when, you know, I'm sorry to say it, white folks being white folks, you know, they don't like a group or they don't like somebody that's different or whatever. They don't just want to target, they want to harm you and make you feel pain and erase you. And this was one of those examples of, I think this was the one where the fire department, and I might do a special on this one. The fire department, they said, do you want us to go in and put out the fire? And it was like, no, let it burn. And there was women and children in their sleep. There was nothing going on, and they don't like. And as you see, there's a huge attack on us helping homeless people. And so this is what the move movement was about, or the move group was about. Was they want to help the people. The people weren't being fed. They didn't have running water, et cetera. And so they want to make sure that they have running water. White folks didn't like that. They like, well, no, we need to see them struggle. We need to see them in bad shape and stuff. And I mean, like, there has to be something in your heart that's inherently evil to do that to somebody else and feel okay with it. You know what I mean? And this is supposed to be the government. This is supposed to be the people that's supposed to protect you. As you see, they didn't. So I'm going to read some of the comments. And this was posted by Olinka Companies. They've been pressing some good stuff lately. D with H Bucks. I told you if I butcher your name, oh well, y'all should be having these weird names. We really need to unify. I pray for that every day. Sissy and Wamielo. Caption is spot on, per usual. Huidell75R. What did we do after? Nothing. Now, why is that? Jojo Go Dive, Go Jive. And we're still looking for the devil in hell. Cockroach Bob, I'm black, period. Okay, the comments wasn't eating on this one, but it is what it is. Oh, I like her. Now, this was posted by Dixie Whitey. He posted a lot of stuff. He's a good ally to like a lot of communities, especially the Black community, as him being a white man. And so I'm glad that he does speak up. Let's take a look at this video, though.
So I saw someone say, why don't they ever teach African history in our schools? And I had to pause because it's not that they can't teach it, it's that they don't want to, especially when it makes Europe look like the monster that it really was. So let me put you on to something you probably didn't learn in school. Germany's first genocide didn't happen in Europe. It happened in Africa. The year was 1904. Germany had colonized what we now call Namibia. And when the Herero and Nama people resisted, not violently, just refused to be erased, Germany responded with brutality that'll make your stomach churn. They poisoned wells. They pushed entire communities into the desert and cut off their access to food and water. They built death camps. They chained people up, used them for forced labor and medical experiments, even beheaded them and shipped their skulls back to Berlin, all in the name of research. Not as evidence of war crimes, but trophies. Sound familiar? Because it should. Germany tested their genocidal playbook on African soil before the Holocaust. And then they exported that same cold, calculated violence to Europe decades later. But nobody talks about that, likely because Black pain isn't considered historic. It's considered disposable. And don't let anybody tell you this was a long time ago. Germany didn't even acknowledge what had happened until 2021. And their apology came with no real reparation, just a PR stunt and a press release. They still haven't returned all the stolen bones. They haven't paid back the families that lost generation. They still haven't put this genocide in German textbooks. In the US, silent. Because when the West says never again, they really mean never again to white people. But when you ask why African history isn't taught, they can't teach you the truth without admitting that they're still protecting the people that committed the crimes. Germany practiced genocide in Africa. They perfected it, then pretended like it started in Europe. We're not supposed to remember, we're supposed to move on. But memory is resistance. And I'm here to say their silence doesn't protect them anymore. We remember everything, and the ancestors, they haven't forgotten either.
Oh, she always eats. I love her videos. It's very to the point, very silent, quiet, and you just get the focus on it. And you know, this is what gets me. I'm just going to pull up a few things. Get mad all you want. Let's. Where did the Inquisition happen? Inquisition. Let's see. When did the Inquisition start? Let's just say happen. All right, the Inquisition spans several countries with several different phases. I'm going to give you a reason why I'm doing this. With different phases and localized inquisitions occurring over time. The medieval Inquisition began in 1184, marked by establishments of episcopal inquisitions and later papal inquisitions. The Spanish Inquisition was established in 1478. The Roman Inquisition began in 1542. The Portuguese Inquisition was established in 1536. While investigations of heresy ended in the 19th century, the institution of Inquisition survived until the 20th century. All right, let me see if there's a map. Hold on, let me see if there's a map. Let's see here. I just want to see the images. All right, so we just talked about the Inquisition, right? Portugal, Spain, all that, Europe, right? Okay, got it. All right, so let me go back here and I'm gonna pull up something else. Let's see when the Crusades happen. Sound like it's gonna be in Europe too. All right. All right, the main period of the Crusades occurred between 1096 and 1291, when European Christians launched a series of religious wars primarily to reclaim the Holy Land from Muslim control. You know, you're forgetting the Moors, the Moors, the Moors. All right, I want y'all to let that sink in. Pope Urban II initiated the first of these conflicts in 1095, leading to 8 major crusades expeditions over the next 2 centuries. And these are all the crusades. And when I tell you, let me not stop there. I'm going to do one more. When did the Dark Ages happen? The Dark Ages occurred in Western Europe, generally between the 5th to 10th century. Following the fall of Western Roman Empire and preceding the cultural revival of the Renaissance, the term first used by Petrarch in the 14th century categorized the period as one perceived decline in culture and knowledge compared to the classical era, though modern historians increasingly view this label as outdated and inaccurate due to the significant cultural and intellectual developments that occurred. Now, let's keep it real. They trying to this is this rewriting history again. Now they're trying to change everything. Y'all got to understand something about the Dark Ages, the Inquisition, the Crusades, and everything. White folks, I keep telling y'all something was wrong with y'all. It's in y'all DNA because all the beheadings, the Salem witch trials, the Inquisition, the Crusades, the Dark Ages, Europeans, Spain, Portugal, Britain, Norway, Sweden, the Goths War, the Roman War, the Catholic, all those wars started by white folks. A lot of it was religious, but it was started by white folks. And y'all forgetting over in that area, in Europe, a lot of black people weren't over there. A lot of Asian people weren't over there. That was all white folks. And who did they hate the most? Ireland. Ireland was one of the most hated countries in that whole European area. And they didn't accept Ireland until slavery happened because they wanted to separate them from the blacks. They were like, oh, now you're included. The same happened with the Italians. Actually, let me just pull it up. When was the last Italian hanging in America? I'm just gonna pull it up for y'all. Don't believe me. Okay, this is the one I'm looking for. The New Orleans hanging of 1891. The event on March 14, 1891, a mob stormed a prison and lynched 11 Italian Americans who had been accused of killing the city's police officer. Historical context. This event was not a state-sanctioned execution, but an act of vigilante justice driven by an anti-Italian sentiment. It was a significant diplomatic crisis between the United States and Italy. The white folks didn't like them. The Italians were not considered white until the 1900s. Irish was not considered white. They came over as indentured servants. If you ever travel to Europe and talk to Europeans, they don't even like Irish. And they don't like Americans either. White Americans, they look down upon them. I've heard so many bad things that they say about white Americans, and I stay out of it. I'm like, let that be white on white crime. I don't have nothing to do with it. The same that's going on with the Ukraine and Russian war. Everybody's quick to talk about blacks, like, oh, black on black crime. I said, baby, you talking about 4 city blocks? Let's go ahead and look at white on white crime. When y'all do something, y'all decimate entire countries and continents. World War I, World War II, 30 Years War, even the Crusades, the Inquisition, all these things. Y'all decimate entire continents. And no remorse, and y'all will make yourselves look good in these books like you guys were the rightful persons to do this. Even the atomic bomb, when you actually look at the atomic bomb that was dropped on Japan, they didn't drop not one, they dropped 2. I think Japan got it the first time when you dropped the bomb and it evaporated the whole city. I don't think they needed to see a second one so you could say, oh yeah, look, we did it again and they evaporated. I was watching, I think this was on Discovery Channel or National Geographic, and they were talking about the Japanese bomb. And I think actually, if I pulled up Japan story of atomic bomb, I think it was History Channel. Let me see. Yeah, this was the documentary. It was on PBS, but it was one, I think it was on National Geographic. And this man, I remember him talking about it, and he was talking about how he said the bomb dropped, and he said he seen the people that were standing there, and the next thing you know, he said they were turned into a black silhouette, and they were plastered or stuck into the cement. And their whole human form, but it was nothing but ash, black ash. That's all it was. That's left of them. No bones, no skin color to say if you have white skin, black skin, you would turn to ash. Eyeballs gone, hairs, everything. You were turned to ash. And I'm looking at the video and they sitting there clapping, yeah, yeah. I'm sitting looking at all these white men in the war room. They got standing up clapping and stuff. And I'm sitting here like, y'all just clap because y'all just killed thousands of people within seconds. Let that sink in for a second. Just let that sink in for a second. That's something that you have to pay attention to stuff like that. I think I should watch this because I remember watching this, and he spoke about some stories, and he said, man, even the people that didn't get fully evaporated, he said the meat was hanging off their bones. They could barely walk. He said people had all these they start getting these grotesque bumps and boils all over their skin. I mean, it's horrific. It's terrible. And you clap over that, but you know, that's it. I mean, that I'm just keeping it real. All right, so we're gonna go to this next one. And you know, we talked about this on the 40 People podcast. I will vote for Donald Trump. And here we go with another Latina who she probably has not been touched to be deported yet or sent to alligator Alcatraz. But we're going to see what he says about this. I had a snippet of it. I didn't get to hear the whole thing because I wanted to make the video for today. So let's see what he says. Take a look.
As a Christian Latina, les voy a decir por qué voté por Trump. Why I voted for Trump. I'm not a racist nor a white one.
If you start your video with "I'm not racist," you're probably in the wrong already. People on the right side of history rarely have to justify what they're doing.
I literally have family immigrants, so it was a hard decision to do. It was literally a sacrifice. But guess what? Obedience to God comes first before anything.
I know que sacrificio. Sacrifice to you. They are literally separating children from their parents. People are losing their livelihood. No, it was a sacrifice to you. Que gacho con esta gente hipócrita. I really hate folks preaching the whole being obedient to God, literally not following on their teachings, especially when it comes to protecting other human beings. In the next part, she's going to tell us why she didn't vote for Democrats and the evil things they are doing.
They literally allowed grown men that identify as women to go into any woman's bathroom. And I don't know about you, but that is unsafe. I wouldn't feel safe. That gives higher chance for any woman to be, you know. Imagine if a little girl was in those bathrooms with a grown man. That gives pedophilia vibes. And I don't know about you. If you are tolerating,
you don't care about the kids. If it was about protecting women, the person you voted for has hella misconduct. He even called this monster a terrific guy. I would say that the biggest threat to young kids are not trans people. There are others, and y'all ain't doing nothing about it. He goes on to talk about reaffirming care, keeps using ChatGPT as her main source of information. She can't even be bothered to look things up herself. And then she said this.
I have way more reasons, but I cannot disclose them because I'm a guest.
Sam.
We as Christians should know right from wrong and when to step back from certain decisions that go against the word of God.
Going against the word of God, huh? Qué vergüenza con estos hipócritas. Pero familia, what do you all think about this? I, for one, think that if there is a heaven, she ain't getting in.
As a Christian, I think.
You know what? I don't need to say nothing. I think he pretty much said everything that needed to be said. I still, for the life of me, I talk to I tell you, I hang around all people. My Latin and Hispanic friends, I don't understand how them or their abuelos, their he-hos, whoever, how they sat here and voted for their own oppression, their own deportation, because they think they're better. The Dominicans think they're better than the Argentinians. The Argentinians think they're better than the Cubans. And the Cubans think they're better than everybody. And the Puerto Ricans who's been here, who has citizenship, everybody talking bad about them. And then nobody like the Mexicans. It is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Everybody trying to attain to be white. And I'm telling you, I was raised by white people as well, growing up in foster care. You guys will never be white. Y'all can say you're a white Latino all you want, but with a last name of Gomez or Aguilera, or if they go back into your lineage and see that where you're really from, if there's another Holocaust or mass thing, guess what? They're going to send you there. There ain't gonna be nothing you can do about it because you so full to think that you are one of them and you're not one of them. Just like how everything was going on in Europe, you had the rich white folks, you had the poor white folks. The rich white folks will never consider poor white folks in any of their categories. They will never consider you one of them. And even when I was in Kansas, this is where I first heard the term legacy families. I didn't know what this was, but my godparents, who they disowned me after we had a argument, a real bad argument. Well, they're white, and they had disowned me because of a few things that I said that I didn't think was right. You know, I would say what I have to say, but they was telling me about legacy families, and they said, you know, they had everybody in like these rankings. You know, they had the families that had wealth for a long time, and then they didn't have the people that are like business owners or, you know, the Steve Jobs or et cetera. Then you have the upper middle class, you have the middle class, and then you have everybody else. They don't care about up poor, bottom poor. Everybody else is poor if you're not at that middle class level. Legacy families and the ones in this like tech billionaire status, they would never consider anybody below them on their level. Even these rich families, they do not let them date anybody that is out. That's why it's a lot of inbreeding. As you see, you have the Mad Kings and stuff. You gotta start learning about Europe history and legacy families. There's a lot of inbreeding because they having sex with their cousins and sisters and stuff like that to keep everything in the family, to keep the bloodline going. That's why they have this branch out. I keep telling everybody, I mean, it doesn't make sense, but this is what goes on there. And so they said they would never consider poor white folks in their category ever. You would never be an oligarch. And they can't stand lottery winners. Now they love the money. Yeah, you got lucky and you want some money, but you're not a legacy family. For example, you just need to understand what happened. The whole thing that started with Princess Diana. Pretty lady. Didn't do nothing wrong to anybody, but the royal family did not like her. And this has been known and everybody has talked about it over and over again. And I said, somebody that is supposed to be in the royal family, I have paparazzi. Paparazzi is who ended her? This could have been a lot of things. I said, paparazzi. I said, this don't make sense. And then you start hearing all the conspiracy theories and stuff. And this is going to show you. And that's why I said, Latinos, y'all will never be one of them. They will find a way to separate you. I promise you, and I guarantee it. And by that time, it's going to be too late because you're going to be like, oh, you're one of us. They're going to invite you over. You're probably going to have dinner or whatever. And the next thing you don't know, you're going to see the Gestapo at your house, at their house, escorting you in the van. You're going to be blinded because you thought you were one of them. You're not one of them. And the bounty might be $100,000 a person or something. You don't know what I'm telling you. History with a lot of bad people, the history always repeats itself with a lot of bad people. That's why we're going through all this stuff now. So just let that sink in. So let me see what the comment says. West Coast Fitness says, did you tag her because how could Republicans rep Republicans? Chile 007, Christianity and Trump should not belong in the same sentence. And if Latinos out there are still believing that it was out of righteousness for God to support Trump or any Republican at this point has been taught wrong in the church. Morrissey Deja, he has nothing to do with God. XOXO Hustle Goddess, she's very pick-me, definitely, it shows. Regaza 007, Pendija, that sounds like something bad. I'll probably say something bad. That sounds like something bad. All right, I'm gonna go to the next video, and she's breaking down for us again. Let's take a look.
When people talk about Australia, they love to highlight the beaches, the accents, the kangaroos. But you rarely hear them talk about the blood beneath the soil. Because Australia is just like the US. It wasn't discovered, it was invaded. And the first thing they tried to do was wipe the oldest living culture off the face of the earth. So let's back up for a second. The Aboriginal people of Australia have been on that continent for 65,000 years. Let that sit. They are the oldest continuous culture on Earth. Not only did they live in harmony with the land, they had complex languages, spiritual systems, astronomy, trade, and none of it was savage or primitive. But when the British showed up in 1788, they saw none of that. They saw a land they wanted and people they thought didn't count. So they claimed the land as nobody's land, like people weren't already living there. And what followed was centuries of massacre, displacement, slavery, and dehumanization. Aboriginal people were hunted like animals. Entire tribes were wiped out. Their water sources were poisoned. Children were taken. Women were assaulted. Men were imprisoned. Sometimes for just being Aboriginal. Their language banned. Their cultural practices outlawed. Their sacred land stolen. They weren't even considered full citizens on their land until 1967. Let me repeat that. The original custodians of that land weren't counted as people until less than 60 years ago. And from the late 1800s to the 1970s, the government had a plan to breed out the Black. That's not an exaggeration. That's what they actually called it. They took thousands of Aboriginal children from their families, the stolen generation, and placed them in white homes or church institutions. Sound familiar? They erased their names, told them their families didn't want them. And when those children cried for their mothers, nobody came. Because colonialism isn't just about land, it's about memory. And they were trying to erase it all. So when you hear people talk about Australia like it's just another Western paradise, know this. There's blood in the soil and trauma in the air. And the world is still catching up to the truth. because Aboriginal people didn't just survive genocide. They preserved the oldest culture on the planet through it. And that's resistance. That's legacy. That's a miracle that colonizers couldn't kill, no matter how hard they tried.
All right, so we kind of had this discussion already with everything with her other video. So I'm just gonna go straight to the comments on this. This is not gonna take too long on this one. Ms. Riley 88, Rapid Proof Fence is a must-watch movie. The O.J. Wilson, same thing everywhere they went. Gym Photography 1. But when you talk about history that makes white people look bad, they tell you indigenous people that you have a victim mentality. They want us to get over it because it's convenient for their white guilt. No, I like that one. Friday Paisley sounds like Canada's story. Oh, she need to do one. I've heard about Canada. Canada, the same thing that happened in Australia. White, I'm telling you, something is, man, something is in the DNA, because that expansion, it has really decimated a lot of natives and Aboriginals. And I mean, there should be no reason why that we are not technologically advanced, the whole world, and everybody's working together to like build things and probably have space travel. But I mean, this is not what people want. Marcus Antonius Spur, it's true. It's sadly true. Okay. Now this was a good one I seen earlier. Let this sink in.
One more important piece of the puzzle was found in 2005 when cancer researcher Keith Chen was studying the black and white stripes of zebrafish.
There are a lot of zebrafish in my laboratory because I'm a geneticist and I study how mutations occur, which is how cancer occurs. And I use pigmentation to detect those mutations. By chance, the light skin colored fish that I used for that research also taught us a lot about how Europeans, how humans became lighter skinned.
What Professor Chen discovered was perhaps one of the most important genetic mutations ever found. A simple change among literally billions of coded instructions within zebrafish DNA that reduced black pigment from their stripes. Soon after, this identical genetic mutation was found in fair-skinned Europeans.
There was a magic moment in this research. When I got back the results that showed that the number and the size and the amount of pigment in light-skinned zebrafish were all diminished, and the same thing happened in humans. When I opened the textbook and saw that same thing, I began to sweat. Not only did light-skinned people evolve from black-skinned people, but lighter-skinned people, whether they're European or whether they're Asian, like me, were actually mutants of the dark-skinned people.
This was remarkable because we had only inferred on the basis of circumstantial evidence that this must have occurred in evolution, but we didn't have any concrete genetic evidence.
Whether they're European or whether they're Asian, like me, were actually mutants.
So I'm gonna let that sink. You know, this is why I have to give Asian people their props. So this is not the first time I've seen this. I think there was a scientist in China who had publicized this as well. And I was watching a documentary, and they said everything comes from black people in Africa, everything. But when you sit there and you tell somebody, "Oh, we didn't," now I think what was it? I think it was Ireland or something. There was a documentary of how they came from darker skinned people with blue eyes or whatever, and they was all upset in an uproar. I mean, like literally, your genes are mutations of that. And some of them will even say recessive genes, because as the further you go north, it's very different from being at the equator. And you needed lighter skin because you're in snowy regions. It's a lot colder. There's not that much sunlight up there. So your skin is mutating lighter and lighter and lighter because of how you travel northern. And it just is mind-boggling that people want to discount science and stuff, real science like this, but they want fake science to be out there. You know, you just got to make stuff make sense. And I'm glad that he said something about it, because I mean, if you go look at the tribes, a lot of these different tribes in Africa, there is actually black people that have blue eyes and create their own blonde hair, and they have never been touched or colonized or anything by anybody white. You also have some of the tallest people on the planet in Africa. You have some of the shortest people in Africa. Just let that sink in. So let me see what the comment section says. This was posted by, well, not posted, but this is a comment from African Race. All Black people in the world are Africans as a race. As Black people outside of Africa, we should be so grateful to be African. We could have been Neanderthals. I think it's crazy that Black people in this diaspora think they aren't Africans or claim to be mixed or whatever. We are blessed to be African and Black. We are blessed, a blessed race. Unfortunately, some of our people do not see or understand this and suffer from self-hatred. Well, it's been taught so many times. Dark bitch, dark heart. I could believe this if it was just the skin, but our hair, skin, features, bones, muscles, we conduct electricity like they're not like us. Inside or out, the truth hurts, but the real question is, why are we different, and where did you really come from? Because I don't think it's us. I am NGL, or maybe mixed with human. I don't know. All I know is we are not the same at all. Dudes, they don't want to hear this one. Laughing out loud. Trap House Champion. Tell those Americans who've been ranting to stick to that which they claim that they Americans, not Africans. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Okay, so this this is a posting, and this y'all gotta be a little bit nicer to people. You got to be a little bit nicer to people. I'm telling y'all, because I'm telling you, all it takes is you to be in an accident, or you to have a mutation or a cancer mutation or something, and you can have a disfigurement out of this world. I've seen it happen on a lot of these History Channel episodes where they be having stuff like mutations and stuff. Anybody can turn to be unattractive to people. Okay, so I'm telling y'all need to be a lot nicer to people, because you don't know what could happen to you. Somebody could throw acid on you. You don't know what can happen. So I'm gonna read this. Naomi Pula, I hope I said it right, received thousands of comments about her appearance, but she refused to delete the photo. I am not an aesthetically beautiful person. I am not, and that's okay. But I love myself, and I can be myself. I love that. So Naomi Pula is just like you. She works 5 days a week, goes to church on Sundays, and enjoys getting her nails done. She loves fashions, her friends, and her family too. Like most, these everyday moments are reflected on her Instagram page, where she posts a few times a week. So imagine her surprise when a simple video about one of her favorite face masks drew comments like, "Is this AI?" and "Is she using a filter?" After a while, Palula realized they were talking about her physical appearance. But it wasn't until the 37-year-old posted a selfie in June that she would be exposed to the depths of the internet's nastiness. All right, let's read the comments. Being Kajak, she's beautiful. She's smiling, her eyes twinkle, and she loves the Lord and herself. Leave that lady alone. I agree. Like, I gotta leave people alone. Osmond at Maddex, I'm butchering names. I rebuke how our world has turned into such a vain and superficial place. James Katina Hare, see how much she is genuinely smiling and happy. A lot of you should be taking notes from her rather than measuring her facial features. He's right about that, because I live in LA, and I'm telling you what, everybody, they starting to look like those what they call them, the tiger twins, the dudes that have they faces, they had so much surgery that they face look cartoonish. Everybody out here got lip injections, ab injections. I've seen people have fake pecs, fake arms. Everybody know what a BBL is. That runs rampant out here. I've seen people get some fake calf muscles. Everybody's running around here looking like a damn transformer. Y'all got to stop talking about people. Y'all trying to look like other people because your original body did not have what it takes to be at that natural state. A lot of Black people already are at the natural state. And you got people talking, well, I don't like Black, but okay, but you're wearing box braids. Oh, you got fillers in your lips. Oh, you want a BBL because you have a flat ass. Understood. So they got to stop talking about people. Lydia Renee, her soul's radiate stew, and I find her so beautiful. Misfit B100, but I think she's beautiful. That smile and twinkle in her eyes is everything. And so, we're gonna let it do what it do. All right, so we're gonna go into the next one. Okay, this was hard to watch. I've seen this, so we're gonna take a look at this. Jesus. Woo. I gotta watch that again. I'm sorry, that Jesus, man. Ooh, baby, dinner was served. They man. If they was not there, she was done. Man, she was done. This is why, like out there, uh, especially like in India now out there, they be having like they dogs and outside. And I be seeing too many of these dog videos where I don't know, I don't know what type of cat it is, leopards or panthers or whatever, but they go and they grab the dog and they run off in the woods and have a snack. And I be telling people, I say, y'all can't be in those places. Y'all can't be leaving y'all animals out there like that because they will. I mean, this is a little kid. I mean, literally, and you can tell these dogs they're comfortable, so they've done this before. I tell people, animals that know what they can do to like a small human or something, they've done this before and probably gotten away with it. And a kid probably was lost or something, and they're like they don't know where the kid is. Well, the kid is pretty much bones because I mean the dogs and got him. So I'm telling y'all got to be careful when y'all go into these foreign places like this, especially like, and I think everything here, I can't really comment on anything because everything's in a different language. So I just wanted to show y'all that. So let's go on to the next video. Oh, this has been making its rounds today. This was posted today. Let's take a look.
So I say fuck it.
You know what? This is what I be telling. I keep telling everybody why I do not like Kansas, Missouri. I This is some pussy ass shit. I don't care. I was supposed to cuss today, but this is some pussy ass shit. All these white dudes, and this is why I be telling y'all, they do not fight you heads up. It gotta be fucking 30 of them against one of us. Even when it's a man, and what he'll do, he'll go up to a black woman and put his hands in her face, and he would definitely do it to a child. White dudes do not fight black people heads up. They just don't. You know, and that Montgomery ball was a clear example. You seen how, and I keep telling everybody, I said that's that behavior. That is a coward and pussy behavior. Y'all all attacking one person. And this is not just that. Nobody helped. Look at all those people there. Look at all these people there. Not one single person helped this kid at all. Just look at that. And they so tough. He's picking them up and everything when it's 15-on-1. They're so tough. You would never see them going to a brawl with a group of black dudes like that. And this is why I keep telling y'all, and I hate to say it just because you should be able to go where you want to go. His black ass should have been there in the first place. I said, you don't see not one black person. And I don't go in white spaces like that where there ain't no black people. I don't. High by when I'm traveling, high by keep it moving. And when I'm traveling to places like Oklahoma, Iowa stuff, I get my ass in the rental car. I take my ass to the hotel. I go to the local gym in the daytime. I am in the hotel before nighttime. He shouldn't have been there by himself in the first place. And this is a hard lesson that a lot, and he looks light skinned. And this is why I be telling you, these little light skinned black kids, this used to happen a lot, where this perceived trying to get close to whiteness. And as soon as this happens to them, then they want to come back and be in black. After they sat here and said they don't like being around black people. They don't want to hang around black people and things of that nature. I mean, these are cowards. They just like their parents. You mean to tell me that it took all y'all to beat up on one kid? You don't never see them go heads up with you see so many videos like this, or it's usually this fat ass man Jim Bob and them that does stuff like this. This is horrible. This is horrible, and nobody helped. And this is in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is horrible. They are so. Look at them. Oh, they're so tough. One kid. You would. They don't sit there and fight one-on-one. But his ass should have been in the first place. You got to stay out of these spaces with these Neanderthal inbred white people like this. I don't care how nobody feels about that. You can kiss my ass for all I want. I don't like stuff like that, dude. I don't like stuff like that at all. Like, just look at that. That's horrific. But black people are the violent ones. I said, this is the same stuff my grandma and great grandma used to tell me about white folks. My great grandma said she said she if it was not parties where it was half black people there, she didn't go. She didn't go. Perfect example of this. This was unacceptable. They were so tough jumping on that boy, and I'm telling you, y'all light. It's usually the light, and he's out there in Wisconsin in the middle of nowhere. This is what. Iowa County. So you know that ain't even part of the city. That's probably way out there in the middle of nowhere. Light-skinned black kid. Y'all trying to hang out with people, and they gonna let you know how they are. That Neanderthal inbred attitude comes out, and look at them attacking them. Let me read the comments because this gonna piss me off. Cash Chavelli says, "Can we take a trip up there? I just want to talk to all of them. Life in prison for all of them." Tacoma Meat 123. Why is he there? I just said this. Next time, say no. I'm not coming to the barn. I just said that. Being in Kansas, Missouri, I never went to a place where I didn't see at least there had to be a good mix of black people there. Now, when I say a good mix, it cannot be 300 white folks there and 20 blacks. Hell no. At least half the party has to be mixed. That was a lesson that all black people that I know that was in Kansas, Missouri, they never went to any parties that were predominantly white folks parties, because the white folks, when they come to black parties, we don't act like we're not jumping and beating on you like that. We don't have that Neanderthal inbred attitude. We don't do stuff like this. Actually, black people are more accepting. They invite people to the cookout just for doing a basic nay-nay or a basic Dougie. We don't do that and stuff. But white folks, their inbred attitude, Neanderthal stuff come out of them, and they start acting just like that. That was unacceptable. And nobody helped this kid. Just look at all the people there. Nobody helped. But he shouldn't have been there by himself. And I can tell y'all, these light-skinned, mixed kids, whatever, y'all gonna learn. Out here trying to be Candace Owenses and Herschel Walkers and stuff like that, you're gonna learn. And they're gonna treat you like this, and hopefully he's okay, because he's lucky, because this is how they end up hanging from a tree and stuff. I just stated this comment. So she said, this person said, why is he there? LOL. Next time, say I'm not coming to the barn. I'm liking that, man. I'm liking that. J100. I hope he comes back with his brothers and cousins. So pretty. This made me so mad. Jason Elbert, bro, what? This is heart wrenching. KZB Mac, burn the barn with them in it, minus the victim, of course. Hercaville Music, bro, how does one get into this situation? Shake my head. Got to be smarter than my guy and choose your friends wisely. Either ones that have your back or ones that won't get you caught up in the shenanigans. Whew. It's like y'all getting too comfortable. A lot of y'all getting too comfortable on social media. Y'all get into proximity to them. And I'm telling y'all, I used to hear about this all the time, and I used to see stuff like this all the time. We would ride by, and we would see a group of white folks beating on, it'd be like 30 of them against 2 black people. We used to see stuff like this all the time in the country, the Midwest, all that stuff. We would see stuff like this. And it would be for no reason, it would just because, oh, we don't want this black person here. And some don't even have a reason. They just want to. Oh, and don't be dating one of their girls. Woo, man, that was that black kid's fault, and his friends should have protected him from that. Like he got to have smarter friends. That's all I'm going to say to that. I've got to move on to the next one because this right here, this inbred Neanderthal attitude that they have, that's stuff I'll be talking about. Okay, this popped up on my feed because we had to get from that. Let's just see what's going on here.
Do you remember? Do you remember, girl?
You know what? The Viola Davis. Oh, the Viola Davis meme is, oh my God. Okay, sometimes too much is too much. I mean, I'm glad that people feel comfortable enough to do this. Whatever they are, especially in the LGBT community, but sometimes it's a little too much, especially with all the extra letters and numbers, and I'm a binary bird or whatever that stuff is now. I don't even know what the hell it is now. But I'm just gonna read the comments. I'm not saying anything. I just want to read the comments. Markella versus Monique. She got that good catwalk. Trinity Fatu. Oh, this one fire, so I love it here. Hairs for Life. What is wrong with our men's with an S? Deidre Young, them kids, mommy. Auntie body and uncle's face. Thick body Crayola. Yes, you ate zone. Just Nikki Lucy. Now you got me wanting to wear my dress tomorrow. You ate. That's all I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. All right. Oh, I seen this video. You know, we got another. Now these cops can kill unarmed black people, but when it comes to these white people coming with machetes, or the white man that had that AR-15 or whatever, they back up all these mass shooters, which are 95% white. They always figure out a way to arrest them and get their day in court. That's why I said the police department is the most worthless department and the biggest gang in the world. I don't care how nobody feel about it. Hmm. Oh, come on, the fake shock. Oh, broke. You done this before. Don't do the whole fake. Oh God. Let me just go to the comments because you know the comments is gonna be crazy on this one. All right. Jerome Campbell 6961. This crazy as F, shaking my head. The Christ of death. I support the cop. Let's see what the comments say here. Real edgy. The crystal death. Why advance on an armed officer? That was just stupid. 8 bits for lovers because of mental health. He was having a crisis. People don't deserve to die because they're being aggressive, especially without any sort of weapon. How dumb. I agree with that. Kalulu, London. There's a lot of videos out there of white men with knives chasing 5 cops, still don't get killed, but with a black man, a different story. Facts. I said all of a sudden when it comes to white person, their police training comes, they get their police training, it just comes up naturally when it comes to white folks. But when it comes to black folks, he did something wrong or whatever. That's why I said in the black community, I'm a big, after seeing what happened when I was younger and seeing what my grandma and great grandma used to tell me, I don't think that no white person should be policing black people. I don't care how you feel about it. Now you go if you praise Satan, you can go tell Satan what I said. If you praise Jesus, you can go tell him what I said too. I could care less. I don't think that no white person should be policing anybody black. And I'm sorry to say this, but I don't think that there should be any female officers as well. And look at the cop. I mean, he hit him. Like, it's just like these cops are. I ain't got time for it. They can do away with the police department. Day-Dale Norris, maybe he had a mental illness. The Chris of Death, or maybe he had a death threats. It's just a racist white dude. Okay, over that. KKJ the 776. It should be KKK J776. Don't fight with the cops. Plain and simple. Dix KG says they have tasers too, dummy. The man wasn't even armed. Cop is going to jail for excessive force. His life was nowhere in danger, which it wasn't. Cemetery blunts, and I agree with that. I'm gonna like that. They have tasers, batons, and Batman's belts, basically, but choose to shooting a whole gun towards someone who isn't even armed. Laughable. F cops, biggest effing pussies. Kana 2005, they getting in KKJ's ass right now. Pig dick takes good to you. Oh God. The Christ of Death. How do we know he wasn't armed or made threats against his life? For all we know, he may have felony warrants. Felony stops are always made with firearms drawn. Oh, stop it, dude. So if it happens to your ass, you would not want somebody to sit there and shoot you or your child or your uncle. So let's not even go there. When it happens to white folks, y'all be like, oh my God, you're treating me like a black person, like that white dude that was in the airport not too long ago. Mush Joanna. Meanwhile, you think it's so cool when all your stupid favorite rappers talk about it. I don't fight with fists. I just head taps. All right, let me see somebody else. Poker facial. Yes, I will continue to walk up to a cop and try to fight him after several warnings. Let's see what the people says. Max for press doesn't warrant the use of a pistol at all. Code 4080 AZ. Yes, I'll shoot an unarmed person multiple times. Yes, I have to agree with that. Leon Lay, do you know he was unarmed? Trust Seeker for Justice says, dude, none of this would happen if he just complied. People should. This complied thing is, y'all stop it. Stop the y'all mean to tell me y'all are that damn goofy and delusional that you don't see what happens? That's why I don't talk to a lot of people because they're not the brightest. People should know by now disciplining officers like playing with fire. And you don't even have to do that. They just shoot in the cars now. They look what happened to Tamir Rice. That's why I said there'd be some goofy ass white folks that don't know what the hell they're talking about. And then when you say something to them about them being goofy and slow, then they want to get upset. Look at that. I mean, the man was turned around. He wanted to do that. Like, come on, like something wrong with y'all. That's why I can see why y'all support everything that's going on overseas with that Zionist mess. Code 480 AZ. What if, hear me out, the black guy had a knife and showed no reaction to a taser caused drugs? Let's see here. There's a lot. Broad bass. So yeah, typical with the glasses. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So let's see what somebody says. Mr. No Captain, that was so tough. You look so cool saying that. And look, he has like 2,000 likes. So that's why I be telling y'all, it happens to white folks. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. All these bad things are happening to us. When it happens to somebody that of a different color or skin, they don't even know the person. I know white folks that haven't even met a black person. They just see black people on TV and they be like, oh my God, I'm so scared. I'm like, oh God, the face that this cop is doing. Yeah, this is going to agitate me. So let me move on to the next video. All right. We got our fights to show up. Let's see what's happening.
Well, is that safer?
All right, I'm gonna go straight to the comments. This be irking me. This is why I also say, Mr. EEOC, just how I give it to the whites and the Asians and the Latins and stuff, you know, friends or whoever, I definitely give it to the blacks, and I give it to them just as tough too. This is that ignorant stuff that I don't like. This is why I don't stay in the hood. I don't hang out with nobody in the hood. I don't want to hang out with Boom Quisha and Shaquita and Kilolo and Shanae. And now we good. High and by, keep it moving. I don't go to the dollar store, Dollar General. I don't like being in the hood parts of it. I don't want to see you wearing bonnets and robes to on airplanes. I don't want to be a part of that ghetto mentality. I don't have time for it, because this is the stuff. Right now, this video, I'm pretty sure this was posted a day ago. I'm pretty sure that this is going to get thousands of views. It's going to get shared, and it's probably going to have 500,000 views or more, especially if it was on World Star. And then on top of that, all these people beating on her. Look at them, all them beating on her like that. And this is I don't like stuff. Even the kid, look at the little kids. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, come on, man. It took him to stop it. It took the guy with the black on to stop it. You gotta have the big, strong guy. He came in and he stopped it. That's the only reason why they got up off her, because then nobody want to tangle with him. So let me read the comments. Catfish Boykin says, well, damn, Savannah and 12 just rolled by like ain't nothing going on. I keep telling y'all that the cops are worthless. I keep telling y'all that. They used to be the same ones in the house with the drug dealers, selling stuff with the prostitutes and everything, and then pretending like they're protecting and serving people. I ain't never trust them or like them, and this is a clear example why. Shames Bonds, some real sad stuff. Howard Thomas 505. Now, don't get upset when other races call us animals or this is our culture. It's not our culture, for number one. But when you see over 6 boys and girls jumping one girl, it's sad. Then grown-ups letting it go down, laughing, others recording it. So don't get upset because you're all portraying the projects as a jungle. Also, the effed up part is we've been doing each other dirty. We are not them, and I know I'm not. That was I had to like that. Lorraine Duggins, I hope they all go to jail for doing this to this girl. Shameful, no adults in the hood. Shaking my head. Big Worm 75, I'm sorry, but I'm not letting anyone jump my woman. Get a fair fade or get the stepping. Phone Lee I could 1982. The government needs to put them to work and start giving them welfare. Too much time. Kendrick's ride out. Better save all that for what's coming. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they better save that energy, because we got stuff going on right now in America. It's a effing Coco. I seen a little boy jumping in, a girl in her granny nightgown, some man looking like he left some 304 house in a newborn. What the F? And then Peaches 247. Don't know what I did to get this on my algorithm. I don't either, because this popped up on my algorithm. Probably because I liked it, because I wanted to send this. I want to talk about this, but this is what I'm talking about. I don't want to be around Buquisha. I don't want to be around Kilolo, Trayvon, Markel, any of those names. I'm good. I'm good. I don't have time for it, because this right here, this is the stuff I'll be talking about. And then people get upset when they call Black people monkeys and N-word and all that stuff. But I said, we sit here and we act like that. And everybody's sitting there watching and filming. I'm sorry. It's I'm about to say some real offensive stuff in a minute. So let me move on, because I try to move on. All right, let's see what this is. Let's take a look.
No, he's alive. These are the drug yes, because he stole. I thought they found his dead body. He went straight to the bottom.
Wow. I'm telling you, those cartel. That, you know what? I'm gonna tell you a story. This is when I was hanging around those idiots uh, at the circuit parties and stuff. You know, the Black and Latin crew, I would say, and we had went to Guadalajara, and they had their run in with the cartel. And I spoke about this on the 40 People podcast, but they had a run in with the cartel, and it was because they was in there doing their own drugs. Now I don't know how all that stuff goes, or you know how the operations work, but I guess the cartel. See, me and my friend Wesley. Wesley was on the 40 People podcast as well, and so when we were out there, we went to, it was like our first night, I believe, and we went to this club, and everybody's in there having a good time. Next minute we know, everybody is like leaving the building, getting out the building, and I'm like, what's going on? What's happening? And they got super empty. We see all these people crowded, and mostly men, at the bathroom. We're like, what's going on? And so Wesley, he knows Spanish. And I said, hey, Wesley, you know, can you ask him what's going on? And he asked one of the people, he said, yeah, there were some guys in here doing drugs, and they pretty much, they're about to get dealt with. And I said, what do you mean get dealt with? And we didn't know who it was. Lo and behold, it's the people we was hanging out with. And I don't care, Brandon and all them. And I'm sitting here like, what is going on here? And it was pretty much that they said that they were using a product that they did not buy from the cartel. The cartel was actually in the club, so they didn't buy the product for them. So what they were going to do is they was going to deal with them if they didn't reimburse them for doing that. So they pretty much transported these drugs from California over to Guadalajara, and then they used these drugs in the bathroom. And so I said, Wesley, okay, how do we get them out of this? I said, what do they need to do? And he was like, well, the guys pretty much said that they have to pay them. And I think, I forgot, it was a few thousand pesos. I know that for sure. Guess what? Brandon, or none of them had any of the money. None of them. I said, did y'all not go to the ATM or get anything? No, we don't have it right now. I said, so what happens if they don't pay? They're gonna get dealt with. You know, there's gonna be some people not leaving here. So I said, Wesley, just go ahead. And we went to the ATM, just go ahead and give them the money we have. And we gave them everything we had out of our wallet. We said, hey, we're just gonna give you guys money. Can this be enough? He said, oh, this was actually more than enough. He says, thank you. He said, yeah, they can go. But he says they are not welcome back in this club. And if they find out that they did somewhere else, they already got their faces on camera and everything, it's going to be a problem. And we get in the car. The little dude, I forgot his name, his goofy black ass, he sat there, he ran off somewhere, and Brandon ran off this way. And I'm sitting here like, and then we was with this white dude, this Brazilian dude, and they was on drugs, and one pulled a knife out on the other one. And I said, what is going on this vacation? This is supposed to be a vacation. I feel like I'm on a reality TV show right now. What is going on here? And we get in the car. Nobody said thank you. Everybody got an attitude. People rolling their eyes. I said, y'all got me all the way messed up. I said, I did not come to Mexico, to Guadalajara, to have a horrible trip. And I told Wesley, I said, we need to split off. The rest they agree. We need to split off and do our own thing. And we split off from them and did our own thing, because this was not the first time they had run-ins with the police. They had run-in with the police not once, but 3 times on this trip. And one of the times they had coke and stuff all out and stuff. I said, are y'all stupid or dumb? Did y'all not just see what happened at the club? And so when we asked them, we were talking to Brandon and all them, I said, okay, did y'all not know about this? He was like, well, we did have a similar incident in Puerto Vallarta. I said, so you had a similar incident in PB. Y'all didn't learn your lesson over there. And then now y'all do the same stuff in Guadalajara. And you put my life in danger, you put Wesley's life in danger. Are y'all stupid? Why would you do something like that? This man getting thrown in this water and sinking. He's gonna drown. He's gonna suffocate and drown to death. That's a horrible. Have you heard of drowning victims that almost drowned and they say it's a horrible burning sensation before you finally like pass out. Who wants to go out like that? They say it's a different version of being in fire. I said, that's not nothing to play with. And y'all didn't even apologize to us. And just hanging around them and knowing how they operate, I said, y'all didn't care about our lives. Y'all didn't care about your lives. Y'all just want to come out here and do drugs and get drunk and party. But y'all didn't care about our lives being put in jeopardy. This is my first time being in Guadalajara, which I hated the city for one. The city was just dirty and it was just smog everywhere. I said this was that is definitely one of the worst trips I have ever had. I think that it could be like number one, number two on the list, hands down. Anywhere I travel, that could be one of the worst. And I was like, dude, we spent a lot of money to come out here, and this is what happens. I said, y'all didn't even care about our lives. Y'all just sat here and just did it, and didn't even say thank you, and had the nerves that I forgot that little black demon's name. He didn't even, and then he had an attitude all trip, and he was on drugs. I said, you guys, y'all did this and did not care about anybody else. And if they take you to jail, and then they got pulled over, and I said, y'all don't want to get. I said, y'all ain't trying to do Mexican jails. I said, I watched that on a National Geographic. It was either National Geographic or Discovery. They've been having those like jail things where they show jail videos or TV shows. I said, this is not nothing to play with. This is not nothing to play with at all. They chopping off people's heads and stuff, and y'all put our lives in danger. Y'all better quit playing with people out here. I'm telling you, y'all better quit playing with people out here. They are not playing with y'all. So let me read some of the comments. Dominique Norman 102. He didn't owner the cartel. He stole from them. They found out and they did this to them. That's why they tell you never to steal from the cartel. Okay. Paula Maris EU. If you've seen the gore videos, there's worse been done by the cartel. So I guess bro got off lucky, but not really. Cartel is just nuts. Yeah. Matt Screz, I would just take the opportunity to break my PR for my max free dive. Okay. Rojojo Host 86. Not gonna lie, drowning is the most painful experience you can go through since you got no oxygen for your lungs. I've heard a lot of people talk about that. They said it's just as they said. Some people that there's one person I was saw on YouTube when they were talking about they were burned alive and they almost drowned. They had a lot of near-death experience, and they said drowning was actually more horrific than being burned alive. Jake the Hog, or Og, I guess. The nicest thing I've seen from a cartel. Yeah, so this is, I'm telling y'all, these people are not playing with y'all. They are not playing with y'all. Y'all out here playing games with people, and people out here for real. So this is going to be my last video. We finally got to the end. And I have, we go through a lot of stuff. This is what popped up on my daily feed. I probably liked it or something because I don't search for this stuff, but I probably liked somebody's video and they gave you a similar algorithm because I remember I liked, I think it was some cats that was like doing like a runway walk or something. Somebody dressed them up. And then the next thing I know, I had nothing but cat videos that popped up on my feed like for 2 weeks. So I think it's because you like the videos. That's what I'm thinking. This is the last one, and let's take a look at this. Oh, this is the Mexican song, and this is again, Black people, we do everything, we invent everything, and we don't get credit for nothing. But let's take a look at this. Oh, I probably can't even play it. So this is that song. This is that famous song. You probably heard it already, but this is go to I think George Lopez's TV show. This song was created by Black people. I'm gonna play a little bit of it. So I'll play a little bit of it so that way it does not do because it's all this copyright stuff. So I try not to make sure there's any copyright stuff on there. But let me see what the comment says. Young 3 Classic 54. They're from Long Beach. Yeah, it's me. Most lowrider oldies are by Black artists. I'm telling you, everything's stolen from us. Because I thought this was a Mexican song. They present this as a Mexican song. Sean Hill, the people, I've been bamboozled. Latif, y'all don't know war, and you're done for it. Now ain't nothing cool without us having something to do with it. I agree with that. So yeah, this was a long video. Thank y'all for watching For the People podcast. Again, I'm going to be having 40 people. This is, sorry, not 40 People Podcast. That's the other one, IOTG Live. I'm the host of 40 People Podcast, or moderator. This is IOTG Live, so this is where I do daily videos. So it's in my social media feed, mostly Instagram, because TikTok be acting weird sometimes. And Facebook's feeds be kind of like, So it's usually going to be Instagram. So thank y'all for watching this. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for any videos or anything that you think I should look at, or something I should put on here, please let me know. I will be glad to do that. Other than that, if you would like to be actually a guest co-host for 40 People Podcast, please go to at 40 People Podcast. You can also go to our YouTube page as well. You can send us a message. I'll make sure to look at it, and then we'll try to get you on. We did have a discussion about this as well. Y'all can't be coming to us without having like some type of platform or viewers or something. You cannot be coming to us and you have less than 5,000 people on your TikTok or your Instagram or whatever. You have to be doing something in this space for us to want to have you on here. I'm just keeping it strictly 100 with you. We're not here for people that has 100 people on their page and they're trying to just be on here to be on here to get views and get clicks. That's not how this works. We really be on here. We talk about a lot of things. ILTG Live is more just like my daily feed. So I'm just going through my feed talking about stuff. 40 People Podcast dives into the harder things, raw, unfiltered. That's the show that is we're really focused on as well. So as always, please like, share, and subscribe. See you next time, and take care.